99% confirmed that the new world for Duel Links is going to be Go Rush, which comes with a lot of issues that I can think of. So you can spend them all before the game goes into end of service in 2 months. The game is not dying anytime soon. Same usually. I really don't think it's the same. Yeah, I do not see how this will go well in any sense at all, even remotely. Actually, honestly, I'm not surprised. I'm just incredibly disappointed. I'm pretty sure we'll get an end of service by the end of the year.
Everywhere you look in this community, you see people talking about how Duel Links is dying, how it's only a matter of time before we get an end of service announcement, how Konami doesn't care about this game, just generally every negative ass thing under the sun. This isn't the first time, bro. Every single era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a bunch of people that are utterly convinced that the game is dying. I like to call them Doom posters, and let's be honest, all of us have had a time or two where we might have been a Doom poster.
Synchros are gonna kill the game,
people said, and the game kept going on anyway.
Synchros are fine, but Xyz are gonna kill the game,
people said.
Synchros and Xyz are fine, but Pendulums are actually gonna kill the game this time.
And then the game kept going on.
Links are gonna kill the game.
Rah, 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 you get the point. Now people are saying that Rush Duel has killed the game. As if you're forced to play Rush Duel. You ain't forced to do shit, bro. Get your ass back onto Speed Duel and stop acting like it stopped existing because of another game's existence. It might not have been the addition of a new world that made you feel like the game is dying. Maybe there was a format you really didn't like, and Konami just refused to make any meaningful hits to the deck for multiple ban lists in a row. For me, that was Harpy's format. That shit was unbearable, bro. I was about done with Duel Links, with Harpies just being better than everything else they would put out. But you know what? The game didn't die. Power creep did eventually make Harpies more of a fair deck, and it was just a low point from my own personal experience that ended up fading away, and the game became much more fun for me. It can be really easy whenever things aren't enjoyable for you to get overly negative, and your mind might play tricks on you and make things out to be worse than they actually are, because negativity spreads way faster than positivity. I'm sure everybody watching has seen it before, but to be fair, that doesn't necessarily make the negativity invalid. Maybe, even though the Doom posters have never been right before, maybe this time they're finally onto something. Before I talk about what might validate the negativity, I have to say, this video isn't a shot at anybody who thinks or speaks negatively about Duel Links. Of course, Duel Links is no more or less deserving of criticism than any other game. Even I criticized this game, so please do not send any type of hate towards any of the creators that I'm going to be responding to today.
When was Rush Duel released? Was it this month? No, it wasn't later than that. It was this one. Was this Rush Duel release? The fact it's hard to spot where the Rush Duel release was is it's very concerning. Yeah, so Rush Duel was released here. This is your peak Rush Duel world content. This is when the game got the huge new update that everyone was super excited about. They'll bring everyone in, got all the content creators. They got people like Hearthstone streamers and streamers from Magic and whatever other card games all on board to get everyone to come play this brand new format. And it peaked at 7K. In comparison, the one before it, I assume it must have been this one, September, nearly reached 10K, and all the other new worlds, well, that's when before Master was released, but you can see that 17,000 huge jumps. And the Rush world, well, nobody really cared.
First of all, Loam. Oh, thanks for the correction, Dan. Loam was talking about how ever since the release of Master Duel, the concurrent players of Duel Links have gone down dramatically, and it's gone down even further since the release of Rush Duels and Duel Links. In order to back up this claim, he shows a live record of concurrent players playing Duel Links. Sure enough, around the time that Master Duel was released, the concurrent players on Duel Links dropped down. And then, if you keep looking as time goes on, the average concurrent players definitely seems to be going down. And it goes up when Rush Duel comes, however, it doesn't go as far up as when Reigns came. It looks, based on this information, as if the interest in Duel Links has decreased gradually over time. And that gradual decrease was happening before Rush Duel. So it continuing after the release of Rush Duel, to me, doesn't make it seem like Rush Duel is the cause. It makes it seem like the interest in the game overall has been decreasing, with the only major drop-off being when Master Duel released. Of course, the release of Rush Duel will have less players logging in all at once than the year earlier, because there are less people interested in the game in general than there was a year earlier. So at the very least, it's not Rush Duel's fault. But perhaps a new release that catered more to Speed Duel players would have jumped the game back up to having higher interest. So the fact that it was a whole new game, rather than that, could have its itself slowed things down for Duel Links. All that being said, there is an important piece of information that I haven't revealed to you yet, that Loom may not be aware of, but this information that he shows only applies to the Steam version of Duel Links. Let me be fair, okay? Steam is the only available service where we can actually see the concurrent players of a given game. Okay, we can't check the App Store or Google Play to see the concurrent players for Duel Links there. That being said, the fact that only one of the 3 providers of Duel Links is being measured here does mean that we are not getting a full picture here. Let's have a look at Google Play real quick. Of course, if you're American, you might not care about Google Play since Apple is more popular in the US, but even in the US, Apple has a market share of around 60%. There's still a large percentage of Android there, but worldwide, Android has around 70% of the market, so I'm not trying to hear you discrediting Android in the comments. If I go to Google Play right now, there's no concurrent players number I can see to find how many people are playing Duel Links on Android devices. And if I look at how many people have downloaded the app, that doesn't help me either, because that could all be downloads from before a potential falling off, and it could be people downloading the game and not really playing it actively. What we do have, however, is a grossing ranking. If you don't know, grossing essentially refers to how much money you make. As it turns out, Duel Links is the 10th best earning card game on Google Play. That's 1 rank above Hearthstone, and it's 4 ranks above Master Duel. Yeah, that's right. It's above Master Duel on Android. But wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. A phone game is doing better on phones than a PC game is doing on phones, and a PC game is doing better on PC than a phone game is doing on PC? That just doesn't add up. Except for that, it makes a lot of sense actually. Now this doesn't mean that Duel Links has more players than Master Duel. It only shows that on the phone it's making more money than Master Duel. If the question is whether or not Duel Links is dying, then it's the amount of money the product makes that supports the future of Duel Links. If 5 people played Duel Links, but Duel Links still made a shitload of money, but Master Duel had 50 players and made less money than Duel Links, then if you consider Master Duel to not be dying while making less money than Duel Links, then Duel Links is also not dying.
They're literally going to be adding a world that is unfinished. A world that is already going to be seeing very little interest because it's Rush, and we already know Rush is seeing very little interest in Duel Links, like extremely low interest. It's such a dead format. Like if I just check my own channel viewership wise, I stopped uploading Rush Duel months ago because it was awful. No one was watching the videos. People had 0 interest in it. Actually no interest, which had 12k, actually a decent amount. These two actually did alright. Some decent viewership on these. Harpies was so good because it's actually a free deck. I don't know, man. You don't think they'll find a way to keep this game alive? They haven't tried so far. They're releasing on the Rush Duel world. I've seen no evidence to show they're trying to keep the game alive.
One of the major issues people have with Rush is that it's too simple of a game. But I've heard from Rush players that the game has had a lot more power creep, so it may be more enjoyable to that crowd once the new Rush world comes out. As far as it's somehow ruining speed duels, well, speed duels still exists, and the format isn't impacted by the existence of Rush Duel any more than Magic the Gathering isn't impacted by Pokemon. If you feel forced to play Rush Duel, bruh, that's on you. Speed Duel is literally right there if you want to play it. There is nothing stopping you, bruh, and there's nothing forcing you to play Rush. At the same time, the growing complication of Speed Duel has some people feeling left behind, so being able to go convert to Rush Duel is something a lot of players really appreciate. The fact that Speed and Rush both use the same currency is a bit of a weird idea to be sure, but if you like Rush, then you can have a whole new account and use the year's worth of gems from Speed Worlds to get all the Rush content.
You don't think they'll find a way to keep this game alive? They haven't tried so far. They're releasing on the Rush Duel world. I've seen no evidence to show they're trying to keep the game alive.
The idea that Konami no longer cares about Duel Links or no longer sees the value in improving Duel Links obviously didn't age very well, considering that we got news of Duel Links getting a visual overhaul in October. This news was after this stream. However, there were signs. We got an announcement notifying that there would be a new minimum operating system requirement for Androids to be able to continue playing Duel Links. It doesn't really matter what kind of efforts they're going to upgrade the game. The fact of the matter is that if you're raising the minimum strength of device for your game, you are making efforts to improve the game. Therefore, Konami does see the value in improving improving Duel Links as they're literally doing it. They never needed to increase the minimum for just adding worlds, so adding a new Go Rush world doesn't really account for this, especially when the Rush Duel mechanic is already in Duel Links. Maybe he didn't see the notification, so that's alright. He might have just not seen all the information, and I don't think that Loom has bad intentions with any of his points. He is looking at the information he already has, and he's making his own conclusions, and I'm providing more information to express my own conclusions.
Is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links dead forever? Or shall we add it to the graveyard of the cross?
So YT Dan is one of my favorite YouTubers, and he isn't the only one who's made a comparison between Duel Links and Cross Duels. The fact that Konami released a game and it didn't succeed, so they had to cancel it, is having people wondering if they would be willing to do the same thing for Duel Links. Look guys, let's be honest with one another, you and me. We both know not a goddamn person played Cross Duel in the first place. There was no player base of loyal customers to protect the investments of. There was no passive income they were making from the game to lose. Duel Links could just half-assedly release a bunch of skills and boxes without much thought and still make a bunch of money for years. I know some of you think that's what's happening currently, and as we've seen already, this game is still making bank. Of course, YT Dan is only just now getting back into Duel Links, still getting his feet wet, so there's no problem with not having all of the pieces of the puzzle right away. I've been playing this game since the first year, man, and after all this time, I've learned that whenever people are doom posting, you shouldn't be taking it that seriously, because it always goes the exact same way. People talking about the game dying, and then the game not actually dying. There are a bunch of people that deadass think this game has been dying for years, bro. If it's taking years to die, then it isn't dying. By that logic, a baby is in critical condition as soon as it's born. For me, Duel Links is the most fun format of Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban lists actually solve problems in this game. There are a lot of decks you can be successful with in this game. And most importantly, there's no mini game at the start of the duel seeing who has Max C, who has the out to Max C, who has the out to Max C. Fuck that shit. I'ma play me some Duel Links.
Hey, why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the Weatherman. I ain't asking to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake, but it ain't on me. Got clean, so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream, so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon, they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast. For real.